I'm kind of tired right now, and so I'm not going to make these power rankings very long, but I'm Swiftoneer, and we'll get them done real quick. I'll try and just give a couple like short sentences for each team. I don't want it to be 30 minutes like these usually are. I might not do the predictions today. If I do, then I'll post them in time. If not, I'll post my Cardinals Saints prediction on Twitter, and you can check that out. And then I'll just give my full predictions tomorrow, and that way you'll have all of them on YouTube. But for now, it's week 6, which means it's back to power rankings time, and a lot has changed. And let's just get into it. So one of the big things that's changed here for me is that I have a new setup for this, and some of the logos look a bit different, but I kind of like the look of it, so I decided to do them. But anyways, without further ado, we'll start. So at number 32, let's talk about the what it is. So at the top here, you have the early Super Bowl contenders. These are the people that I think have a really good chance at the Super Bowl. Then the divisional round, people that I think will make it to the divisional round or perhaps to the championship game. So these are like the pretty decent teams. They have a good shot of being Super Bowl contenders right now too. You have the playoff berth, where I think they'll make the playoffs. You have outside looking in, so people that I think will just barely miss the playoffs or have a really good chance of making it, but just won't make it perhaps, but they can still obviously get in. It's only week 6. And then you have the have a chance section. So they still have a chance to become a playoff team. Maybe it's not too great, but it's a possibility. And then you have hockey anyone, because these teams I project will not have a good season. And soon enough, they will be pretty much out of the playoffs or close to it. But let's start. So at number 32, you have the Carolina Panthers. So I think the Panthers are the worst team right now. They beat the Saints. That's the one game they've won. Every other game they've looked pretty poorly in, except for the Cleveland game. But Cleveland, we'll talk about Cleveland later. They just don't look that good. I don't have much faith in them. So moving on, you have at number 31. Oh, and by the way, last time they were 21. So now you have at 31, you have the Houston Texans. And last time they were number 32, so they're a bit better. Not by much. They suck a lot. They look really bad. Pretty much every game they play. But I don't know. They don't really have that much of a chance, I don't think. And at number 30, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who at last time were number 9. So this is a huge drop off for the Jags. I had faith in them. They kind of blew it for me. I don't really have much faith in them. I'm sorry, Jags fans. Maybe they can turn their ship around, but I don't see it happening. Next, you have at number 29 the Chicago Bears, who last time were number 28. Yes, they were 28, so they're a bit worse than they were before. I don't really have much faith in this Bears team. Watching that Thursday Night Football game made me want to die. And I'll talk about the other team in that in literally the next one, because they're next. But, yeah, they looked really bad. They haven't looked very good all season. They beat San Francisco in a weather storm. They beat the Texans, and I think they lost every other game they've played, and not in very good fashion, so I don't have much faith in this Bears team. Maybe they can turn stuff around, but I don't think so. Alright, next you have the Washington football team, or the Washington Commanders. And last time they were ranked at number 30, and this time they're at 28, so a bit better. Once again, I don't have much faith in this team at all. They looked bad against the Bears, who they almost blew it to, by the way. No one should have won that game. It was such a bad game. But yeah, they're not good. I don't think they're going anywhere really. But yeah. Okay, next we'll get into the have a chance section, And at number 27, you have the Detroit Lions, who I've been pulling for them so hard, but they're making it so difficult for me to cheer for them, or to think that they're good anyways. I mean, I'm cheering for them, but to actually, think they're going to win. I've been pretty bad on my predictions. I pretty much predicted them every time, I think, which is a mistake. I don't know why I choose the Lions every time, but that's my first mistake. But yeah, they're not a good team. And they still have a chance. That's why I put them here, even though they have a worse record than a few of these teams. I still think they're better than all of them. Their defense is so bad. Their offense is good, but their defense is so bad. But maybe they can change stuff. All right, next at number 26, you have the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are also a team like the Lions, where they just blow it every chance they have. They look like they'll do really well, but they just can't pull it in. So that's why I have them here. And they last time were at 26, so no change there. By the way, the Lions were at 12 because I've been overhyping them all year apparently. But yeah. Okay, next at number 25, you have the Arizona Cardinals, who last time were ranked number 22, so a bit worse. The Cardinals, I don't know what to think about the Cardinals because they can't get stuff done. I don't know what it is. They have the talent. It's all there. They just can't do anything with it. Watching the Cardinals is just sad because they have, even if they win the game, they have no future. But they still technically have a chance, and I put them here. Next, you have at number 24, you have the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are they're actually looking a lot better than I thought they would this year. I thought they were going to be the number one pick, but I think they've already won enough games to not make my record from last time, or at least have tied it. They don't look that great either. No, they're 3-3, so they did beat my record. I had them going 2-15. Okay, but the Seahawks they look really bad. Or I thought they were gonna look really bad, but they look pretty good, in my opinion. I think that they still have a shot, more of a shot than the other teams, of course. But I don't know. They're an anomaly. I don't know why. They should be a bad team, but they aren't that bad anyways. I mean, I still have them down here, but they're pretty good still, I think. Last time they were ranked at number 15 or at number 31, so this is a much better placement for them. All right, moving on. You have at number 23 the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are, I think they've only won 2 games. Yeah, they're 2-4. Not good. And honestly, they should be 1-5 right now, in my opinion, because of that blown Falcons lead. But the Saints have not looked very good. I don't know what it is, but I'm loving every second of it, and I hope they keep up this terrible stretch they have going. Because there's games that they could have won it, but they just didn't, like the double doink, or and I don't care what you say about the double doink. The defense should have held against the Vikings because that's all they talk about is, our defense is so good. Even though we have Jameis Winston or Andy Dalton, our defense is so good. Yeah, okay, but can you win games? Can you win the game? That's the question. All right, so moving on to 22, you have the Miami Dolphins. And I'm going to say they're on the outside looking in. The Dolphins are a good team. It's just that their quarterback situation is awful. I mean, Tua got a concussion, and then they kept him in the game against the Bengals, and then he almost died on the field. Ridiculous, but they kept him in the game, and now he might be gone for a while, forever possibly, if he decides not to come back after how they treated him. But they put in Teddy Bridgewater, who was immediately hurt, and now they have Skylar Thompson, which if you have a guy named Skylar playing for you, I think your chances of winning just dropped significantly. That's like the least masculine name I've ever heard. I think I'd rather be named Sue than Skylar. But anyways, enough of that. So Miami looked terrible the past couple weeks, and it's because they have a quarterback that just they can't do it. They're just not that good. So I don't know. I feel like if they can get Tua back and he looks like he did the first 3 weeks, then then you have a really good chance of making the playoffs. But right now they're falling apart, which is kind of sad to see. You don't want to see a team lose because of injuries. That's just the worst. But I'm having them on the outside looking in because if they get back to or even Teddy Bridgewater decently soon, they can win still. All right, next at number 21, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are only here because they beat the Buccaneers last weekend, because that defense looked really good against a Bucs team that was just begging to lose, and the Steelers were like, okay, sure, why not? And so they're not that good of a team. I feel like that was more the Bucs losing than the Steelers winning, but at the same time, I think they'd beat the Dolphins the way they are, and most of the other teams below them as well. The Steelers aren't good, but they still have a decent chance, I'd say. All right, moving on. You have the Denver Broncos, and I'm not going to talk about the Broncos for more than a sentence, really. The Broncos are terrible. That's all I have to say about them. And last time they were at 16, so they got a bit worse. Okay, moving on, you have the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, I don't know what to think about this team because they're holding teams to like really close, but I like good teams too, like the Chargers. But then like also holding the Panthers close, I just don't know. They're just a very wishy-washy team. They're like a worse version of the Bucs, which I'll talk about. But or the Falcons. But yeah, they're not that good. They're at number 19. Yeah. I don't know. I have them there though. Alright, moving on, you have the Indianapolis Colts with I haven't really ever seen that logo for the Colts. It's actually kinda cool. But it's kinda like the it's like one of those the Cleveland logos, it looks like, with the Colts, the C. But anyways. Yeah, Indy. They're in the same boat as the Broncos, but they're slightly better. That's all I have to say. I'd say the buffer between them is Cleveland. Alright, at number 17, you have the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, ugly team. I mean, absolutely ugly. I thought the Bucs were looking bad until I saw what was happening with the Packers. They're so gross. I don't know. They literally are a worse version of the Bucs, and I know they beat the Bucs, but we didn't have our wide receivers, so that's my little excuse there. So I mean, you wanna hit me on that? That's fine. Just a very ugly team. Last time they were at number 5, they're at 17 this time. That's all you need to know. All right, now you're looking at the playoff berth. No, I don't think playoff berth is right. Yeah, I think I should keep going with this, at least for a couple more. Next, you have the New York Jets. I put them just above the Packers because they beat them and it was bad. So I don't have any reason not to say that the Jets are better than the Packers right now, because it was a total beatdown. They won like 20 7-10 or something like that. It was not pretty. Okay, moving on, you have looking at the playoff berth, and these are teams that I think might be able to make the playoffs based on how they're looking right now, and the first of which is the Atlanta Falcons, which is the weirdest thing to say. I don't know why the Falcons are looking so good. They could have beat the Bucs 2 weeks ago if there wasn't that terrible roughing the passer call, and they beat the 49ers bad. I don't know what was happening there. According to my own beliefs, San Francisco should be before Atlanta right now, based on what I said last time. But I don't know. This team has held all the teams they've played to within one score. The ones they lost to, anyways, because they beat the 49ers 28-14, I think. So, yeah, they actually are looking kind of good, and I don't know what to think about that. Okay, moving on, you got number 14, and you have the New England Patriots, who have been looking better and better every single week, I think. Ever since they played the Packers, they've just looked better and better, so I don't know. I think they're a pretty good team again, and they might make the playoffs and actually do some damage there. Alright, moving on, you have, in my opinion, the best AFC South team, the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are, they're not great, they're not terrible. I got them there. That's all I really can say about them. They didn't play last week, so I can't really talk about them recently, but that's what I have. Alright, moving on to number 12, you have the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are they're a very odd team. I don't know what to think about them very much. But, yeah, I don't know. They're good sometimes. That's all I got for them. Alright, and then closing off the playoff berth section, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And yes, that's right, I have my Buccaneers outside of the top 10 at number 11. I said this on Twitter. They looked so awful on Sunday. I talked about this earlier, but they rivaled the Washington game and New Orleans game at home last year with how terrible they played. I'd honestly say that this was, in the Tom Brady years, this was the second worst loss we've had. The first loss being that aforementioned Saints game where we lost in the shutout loss. I didn't feel as sickened by that, so there's that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, after that game, I laid in bed and I felt just like sick. It was so bad. But this game was almost as bad, just terrible football. They don't deserve to be in the top 10, but I still think they're winning their division. Although Atlanta's going to make it tough, apparently. Okay. Anyways, at number 10, and starting off the divisional round, I have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams were in a rough spot, and then I said, if they need to beat Carolina, they need to beat them well, and that's exactly what they did. And so here they are. I have them being pretty good again. I had them last time being at number 7, but that was before they started losing to, who was it again? They lost really badly to San Francisco, and then they lost to the Cowboys in one of the nastiest games I've ever seen. By them recently, anyways. Yeah, that was not a good game either, but yeah. Okay, next at number 9, you have the San Francisco 49ers, and they'd be higher if that Falcons game didn't happen. I don't know what happened there, but just really ugly football. I still think they're better than the Rams. I mean, they beat them real bad, but they'd probably be top 5 if that Falcons game didn't happen. So kind of buffed Seattle and nerfed San Francisco simultaneously. Anyways, next up, you have the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals coming off of a close win to the Saints. I don't know how to feel about that, but they've looked better since their first 2 weeks, which is all you can really ask for. They had one loss since those first 2 weeks, which was to Baltimore. And you'll notice I haven't said Baltimore yet, so that just shows you that this team is pretty good. But speaking of Baltimore, the next team is the Baltimore Ravens at number 7. Really good team. I have them a bit lower just because they lost the Giants last week, and which also, like I said, buffed the Giants. And I just keep mentioning them. You have the New York Giants next, who have just looked phenomenal. I don't know what they're on, but this team is actually kind of scary now. Once they beat Baltimore, that pretty much sealed that they were a good team for me. They were 4-1, losing to the Cowboys, and then they edged out the Packers. And I'm like, maybe the Packers just suck, which they're here. So, but then they beat Baltimore, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is the real deal. Honestly, they could end up going like 13-4 or something. I could easily see that happening for the Giants. Maybe losing to the Cowboys and the Eagles twice, or maybe some other team. I don't know, but they're good. They're a good team. Next, you have the early Super Bowl contenders, and starting at number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Which, yes, I'm saying the Cowboys have a chance at the Super Bowl. Will they make the Super Bowl? No, but I gotta put them here because they're better than the Giants, and this is how I rank to my people. So I still don't think they have that much of a chance of making it there, but they're a really good team. They lost to the Eagles, but the Eagles are really good, and the Cowboys still looked pretty good in that game relatively for how great that Eagles defense is. But we'll see how they look next week. And then you have the number 4, the Minnesota Vikings, the best team in the NFC North. They've looked really phenomenal. The only loss they've had was to the Eagles in prime time because Kirk Cousins sucks in prime time. But honestly, I think this team is going to win the NFC North at this point. I don't have much faith in the Packers doing it anymore, but we'll see what happens. Next, at number 3, you have the Kansas City Chiefs. They lost to Buffalo a couple days ago. And then their other loss was to the Colts, but I think that was a fluke kind of. But they've been looking really good, and they played the Bills really well. Speaking of the Bills, I have them at number 2. I think that they're the best team in the AFC right now. They're just a really all-around great team. But I still have the Philadelphia Eagles being number 1 because they're undefeated and they just look unstoppable at this point. So, I don't know, maybe I think they play some good. They play the Vikings. Oh wait, the Vikings already played. Never mind. They play the Packers. That'll be an interesting one. The Cowboys, the Giants. So we'll see if they can remain undefeated. I don't think they will, but I guess we'll have to see. But either way, that'll wrap up my power rankings for this week 6, and I'll see you in the next one. Bucs up.